Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depends where you're listening from. Welcome to Sunday Sessions. My name is Kevin Hughes with Cavelli Channeling. It is May the 30th, the end of May. Holy, where did the month go? Welcome. It is going to be an exciting, fast hour. We are going to be interviewing Miss Kimberly Wuirch, which I am so excited to be doing. It's going to be a blast. I cannot be held accountable for what we talk about and for the laughter that might ensue. If anybody has ever watched Kimberly and Natasha do their Friday morning, I guess it's Friday morning they do it, afternoon uncut, it's hilarious. So I'm sure today is going to be a fun, exciting, one of those times where we just laugh the whole time. I don't think we'll be doing any mini readings afterwards. It's just going to be 1 hour of conversation, and the knowledge Kimberly has is amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to see if I can make, that's not what I wanted to do. If we could, see, I screwed it up already. If we can make technology work, and we're going to bring in Miss Kim Wuirch. Look at that, I didn't delete her. Holy.
Woohoo!
Welcome, Miss Kimberly. Do you like Kimberly or do you like Kim better?
It doesn't matter to me.
No, Kim's fine, good. Because Kimberly is too many syllables.
Right? Too much work.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Thank you. I really do appreciate you taking time on this absolutely beautiful Sunday afternoon out in Airdrie, Alberta. If people don't know, and if you ever watch Sunday Sessions, you constantly hear me bitching about the weather out here. We finally have a beautiful Sunday. I don't know, it's supposed to get up to 27 or 28 degrees, I believe. And then it's going to just get warmer all week. It's supposed to be into the mid-30s by midweek, which is going to be awesome.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, summer's here. Summer's here. So, Kim, I know so little about you. We chatted just briefly before you came on, and I found things out, and I kind of, you did what? So, you what? You had what? So, tell us who Kim is. More so, how Kim. Tell us who Kim is. Tell us in the Cole's Note version.
Cole's Notes. Let's see. I lived a pretty average life. Grew up poor, pretty boring up until I had my spiritual awakening. I was pretty much an atheist, non-believer of anything.
Oh, really? Okay.
Had an awakening, totally turned everything upside down. Came on the scene very quickly in 2014, September long weekend. Started just, everything came in at once pretty much. Took about a year for me to get my bearings, get up to speed again, caught up on my Rieke, Akashic Records, my basically anything and everything that could be taught to me by anyone that I could find that had any skills whatsoever. And then pretty much outgrew everybody within a year. Then I started teaching, started employed by angels, really turned the whole spiritual community on its head when I came in. I just kind of ripped through and started changing things and pointing things out and offering training that had never been offered before and insights that had never been heard before. And
now,
just really,
I'm going to interrupt as we go through here, if you don't mind. Did you find you had a lot of backlash as that was happening to you? Through she laughs of, yeah, you think?
Oh, which so bad.
Oh, really? Okay.
Major jealousy, major competitiveness, not from me. I was looking to, find my place in the community, and I found major resistance, major jealousy directed towards me, competitiveness directed towards me, a lot of hating on me.
Oh, really?
I wasn't welcome. I was told that there's no way I should be able to do what I'm doing, having only been doing this for a year or 6 months or whatever. I heard a lot of, I've been doing this for 20 years, basically, who are you? What do you know? You know, a lot of like attitude. And I'm like, whatevs, I'm going to do my own thing anyways. I'm just going to quietly keep doing what I'm doing. And eventually they couldn't ignore me anymore. They couldn't avoid me anymore. They couldn't like deny my my skills, my abilities, my effectiveness, and the tangible results that I was giving people. And it's like, ignore me now.
Well, and you know what? It's funny because you know a little bit of my story on my background. Again, similar to yours. Grew up poor. Dad died. My mom was pregnant with me. That's my first step into the spirituality, is having conversations with my dad. Now I fast forward, and it's only been a year that I've been doing this, and I have people going, "You don't have that ability," and I was like, oh, "Okay." What do you say to people when they go, "You don't have that ability"? What are you talking about? You're just full of BS. I'm keeping it PG.
I just say, okay.
Thank you. Because that's what I've been doing. And it's just like, no, I'm not here to convince you.
I'm not here to prove myself to anybody. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. The people who are ready for me will come to me. And those who want to deny or fight or resent me, then I just let them. Honestly, I'm not interested in trying to convince or coerce or, you know, try to get them to believe anything. And I've been accused so many times of like running a cult or starting a cult. And it's like, yeah, if you join my cult, I'm going to teach you to think for yourself. So
yeah, how dare they?
Right.
And I guess it would be the cult of the memes.
I have become known for my memes. Yeah.
If anybody has joined Kim on her Facebook page, Employed by Angel, they'll know what I'm talking about. It has the best memes. I start my day every day by looking at Kim's memes or anybody's memes on Kim's page, because a lot of them are spit coffee out your nose funny.
Yeah, I have good sources. Everybody will ask me, where do you get your memes? I'm like, I'm not sharing.
See, that was my next question. You're not going to share that inside info. No comment. Inside joke. So was there that one moment in life, like was there something that happened in life that gave you that aha moment where you went, because you said you were basically an atheist up till you had your awakening.
Yeah.
Did you have that moment somewhere where you kind of went click?
You know, for most people, I've heard that is the case, that happened. Something tragic, something big, something major. For me, no. That's the most anticlimactic part of my whole journey.
Wow.
Was the awakening was just a light switch. I was not one day, the next day, everything just turned on. It was like instantaneous. And it's hard to explain that to people, because you're right. Most people are like, something must have happened, something big. Like, what triggered it? Nothing.
I was waiting for like a near-death experience, or
right? Nope, it was timing. It was like an alarm clock that went off in my head. It was like when the time is right, when all the stars align or whatever, but it was instant.
And now, knowing what you know now, was that part of the plan in this lifetime for you?
Yes.
And we'll get into that later in this conversation. But that makes more sense when knowing what you know now, that it was like, okay, I need to go through what I need to go through first, and then it's just going to happen.
That's right.
Gotcha. So all of a sudden, the light switch went on, and you started your, 1 year in, started Employed by Angels.
Yeah, it was literally 1 year to the day that I started the company. Yeah.
Wow. And that was only in 2014.
Yeah, 2015 is when I started Employed by Angels.
Wow. See, and again, Johnny come lately, just around for the last few months. Well, I guess a year now. Wow, it's been a year, yeah. I figured you had been doing this for a decade or more, to be honest. Like
everyone does.
Yeah. That's amazing to me. It's just my eyes are like that big now.
Well, everybody assumes that it's from this lifetime's experience, and it's like, no, I have 10,000 lifetimes or more on this planet alone of experience, it has nothing to do with this lifetime. I've been here since the beginning.
You have, I'm choking on that one. You have lived 10,000 lifetimes on Earth alone?
More than, yes.
More than, wow. And I'm going to jump into it and we can kind of go back and forth explaining how and why. Have you gone back and kind of looked at your all 10,000 would take you forever, but have you kind of gone back and looked at your important or I don't want to say important because every lifetime is important, but you're more, what's the word I'm looking for? What, sorry?
Influential.
That's the word I'm looking for. Lifetimes?
I have, sometimes against my will, feels like, because I didn't, some of them you're like, I don't want to know, I don't want to know. But, it comes up whether I wanted it to or not, because if it was something I needed to heal from, or if it's something that I need to pull into this lifetime, whether that was experience or knowledge or understanding or what I needed to heal or something to tell me like why I am the way I am or why I do things the way I do them, that information would come to me at the when I needed it the most.
Right.
And I didn't always like it, I can tell you that. I mean, with that many lifetimes, they weren't all good. They weren't all pretty.
No.
Not they've never had good ones. I definitely have many, but there was usually the traumatic ones. This is the ones you have to heal from, not the good ones.
Yeah, the nice happy ones. It's like we don't get
those are the ones I want to know about, but no.
they're not influential in your life. It's
right?
I had a really good life. I was a farmer and I had a beautiful family. No, you don't want to talk about that one.
Right? Yeah, and you know that people wouldn't necessarily understand because you got to go back to the time, the place, the culture, what was taking place at that time. You can't judge what you did or why you did it from the context of this lifetime necessarily.
Thank you. And that's, as some people know, I'm going to point up there because that's my Akashic Records level 1, which was probably the toughest course out of the 4 courses I've taken. Personally, for me to take, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but it was one of those real eye-openers and humbling experiences because when I told Kim this too, when I first signed up for Akashic Records, I was like, oh yeah, I could take this 2-day course and I'm going to be the Akashic Records expert. Let's go. 2 minutes into the course, I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with this. What are you talking about? No, that's not what I signed up for.
This is supposed to be easy.
So I'm going to kind of backtrack because we started talking about Akashic Records. For people who aren't in the middle of their spiritual journey, what are Akashic Records? What the fudge? What are they?
It's not like it's new. It's been around since long before Earth existed. Everything that takes place in this universe is recorded. Think of it like a camcorder that's just running all the time. So everything is basically documented. So on an individual level, for us personally, each one of us has our own personal individual Akashic Records where everything's being recorded. And that includes every single lifetime, every single emotion, thought, deed, action, event, everything you were involved in or every transition from one lifetime to another. It's all there. So it's such an unfathomable amount of information that it takes a lot of skill and practice and experience to learn how to navigate it.
Yeah, and that was the eye-opener for me was the amount of information. The first time we actually got to kind of open up our Akashic Records, our own Akashic Records, and actually saw just from this lifetime, it was mind-boggling. It was overwhelming. It was one of those moments in life where you go, okay. Because I've heard you say it. I've heard Ken say it many times about every thought, deed is recorded. But you don't fathom it. You can't fathom how much. I mean, think about how many thoughts, how many we have in a day. And if every one of those thoughts is recorded somewhere, take more than a terabyte, that's for sure.
just a bit.
Tiny bit. So I don't know if I can ask you this question or not. When did humans first become aware that they could access their Akashic records? Do we know that?
Yeah, so there's always been someone in the human race that could access it, obviously. I am one of those. There has been limited access up until about 300 years ago. There started to be more access granted.
Okay.
I would say in the last 100 years, it's really started to open up. I would say in this lifetime alone is the most access that has ever been granted to the human race.
Right, and that's important to say.
Yes, because you may have been incarnated elsewhere and had access, but as a human, that's different.
Gotcha.
Right, so it's still fairly new to us here.
Why in the last 300 to 100 years, 300 and then again 100 years? And it's funny because those two numbers really resonated with me when you said them. Why have they been opening up more and more and more?
It has to do with human capacity, for one. It has to do with evolution and how evolved humans are, and their ability to understand it and to be able to make changes safely, if you will.
Yes.
It's kind of the equivalent to giving a loaded gun to a child, right? You wouldn't do that necessarily. No. So it has to be in a way that is manageable and safe, but allows the continuation of evolution from where we're at now to continue and to hopefully speed it up to thereby help ascension process, which is dimensional changes.
Wow.
I know
that's a big word there, dimensional changes. Yeah. I don't even want to touch that right now because it's too far forward.
It's a bit much, but just know that there is a reason.
Yes.
It is managed. It is under control, it is safe, and it is by design.
And now you are an incredible teacher for the Akashic Records. You're an incredible teacher about many things.
Thank you.
The Akashic Records, is it fair to say that's your thing?
I don't know that I have a thing.
Well, and it's hard to, because when I was getting ready for this interview, I'm like, everybody has a thing. Like my thing is becoming being a medium. That's my thing. And then I tried to get your thing, and I was like, psychic healer. I want to go into that in depth later because it's just still baffling me. I point to my nose and my stomach, and we'll go into that because it's just bizarre. It's unexplainable, and we're on Facebook, so I can't swear, but it messes with my head. But Akashic Records to me is the most, what's the word I'm thinking of? Unknown. It's like lots of people have heard of Reiki. Lots of people have heard of the psychic healing, mediumship. When I first heard the word, when I first saw the word Akashic, I couldn't even pronounce it. I was like, what is this?
What kind of word is that?
That's not even English, right? So when did you realize you were going to become a teacher for the Akashic Records?
Oh, I already knew the first year.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. I was already in Akashic Records in the first 3 months.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. I thought that would have taken a journey, but when that light switch went on for you, everything opened up really quickly.
Very quickly. I'll tell you what I really had to learn. It wasn't how to use the tools. That wasn't difficult for me. What I had to learn was how to apply it to this generation, how to use it for this century, for this culture, for this time and place, what is appropriate for this level of ascension. Okay. That's what I had to learn.
You obviously now know in past lives, were you also teaching what you're teaching now?
I was always teaching something.
Oh, okay.
But it varied, obviously, depending on when, where, how.
Well, I
You know,
mean, you go back 500 years. If you tried to do what you're doing now, you wouldn't be here.
it
you
didn't
wouldn't
stop
you
me.
you wouldn't have made it past 12 or 13 years old.
It didn't stop me. I taught underground for a lot of things.
Yes, yes, we talked about that at one time, didn't we?
And I died for a lot of it too, not gonna lie.
Oh boy. Um, so a year in, you start this Employed by Angels, and it has obviously been very successful. Then you decided, I'm going to write a book. It's just one day you woke up and went,
Well, initially I wasn't going to write a book because I never considered myself a writer, first of all. I still don't, even though I've written 3
I was going to
books
say,
and many blogs.
you have 3 books. I mean,
No, that's not my thing because I don't have a thing.
yeah, I mean, let me say psychic healer, Reiki teacher, Akashic Records. I'm going to write a book.
Multiple hobbies.
Yes, because you have spare time,
Right? Exactly. No, originally I was documenting everything because my first concern was, what if my son is like me and something happens to me and he
Oh,
wouldn't understand any of it? So I was documenting everything the first year for his sake, and then I met someone through Ken who was really struggling and needed answers that I had conveniently written in this so-called journal, and I turned it into a book. And then lo and behold, and I knew before I released it, it was going to help a lot of people that were going through that, because that is where we were at this point,
of course.
in time. And it's like, we'll put this out and it'll really help guide them and support them and know that they don't have to be isolated. And so the first one was easy. It was just, oh, here's my experience. If you're going through it, it'll make sense to you.
Yeah.
I was so past that by the time I'd published it, right? I've long forgotten everything I've written in it. It's so lifetimes ago, nothing to me now.
Right.
The second book was because everybody was harassing me for the continuation of the story.
You can't just leave it.
Hey, I'm like, okay. So I literally wrote that in a month, the second book.
No way.
Yeah, it was written and done in a month. And then
Wow.
the publishing part took longer than writing it. And it was like, okay, I'll just like blah everything out. And when you look at the first book to the second book, you can see how much I'd changed. They were like back to back written, but it was like I was a totally different person.
Because that first book was so much
it was
earlier.
such a beginner
Yeah.
like level, and then it's like kind of skipped the middle, jumped to kind of advanced, and then I kind of, over the course of the year, I was also writing blogs, kind of trying to keep it to that beginner, intermediate, advanced kind of level through the blogs, and so it was kind of all over. And then I put that into my third book. And a lot of people are, really harassing. When's the fourth book? When's the next book? When's the next book? And it's like, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Like, the reason I haven't written the next one is because people aren't ready for what I have to say.
That's funny, because when I was, again, preparing for this, channeling my guides, they're like, don't talk about the fourth book. You already know. Is it true that you already know what the fourth book is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's exactly what I got when I was questioning, and I was like, "Yep, no, don't talk about the fourth book because it's there. It's just not. It'll happen somewhere down the road."
There will be one day when the time is right, but it's not like writing entertainment novels. Like, this is information that people will use and will need for long after I'm gone, I'm sure.
And I mean, I read all 3. I honestly, the third one, I think I started reading it, then I took level 1 channeling. So I kind of was just back and forth reading, and kind of, as I read, I kind of, I'm going to try this. So I didn't read the full book properly. But the first 2, you could go back and reread different chapters as you need. It's like an instruction manual. Especially that first one, I'll say, really helpful, because you went through everything that most of us are going through or have gone through. You just were able to put it into words really well, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting that people don't realize how much is in there that they don't know is in there.
Yeah.
Because it will not resonate, or it will not click, or you won't even notice it until you're ready.
Yeah.
And when you reread it again, you'll be like, that was in there the first time? How did I not know that?
How did I miss that? I must have skipped that chapter.
It's right there. But if you don't know what you're reading, it just sounds like a really good story.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you bring up your son. How old was your son when the light switch went on and you had your awakening?
So he's 16 now, and that was about 6 years ago. So yeah, he would have been about 10.
So he was old enough to know and realize that something was happening to Ma.
Yeah.
How did he react? Was it?
Honestly, everyone around me was really fine with it. I've always been kind of odd, anyways. And like, okay, this is her latest thing that she's into, whatever. But I never really dragged anybody in my family into it. It was my thing, not really them. So kind of just did my own thing. And then I'm really of the opinion, if you're attracted to it and you come and you ask, I'm more than happy to share or include you or teach or whatever. But if you're not asking, I'm not offering.
And you know what? That's something that I really made myself commit to was, this is my thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be open about it if you ask, but I'm not going to preach to you unless you ask. And it's funny how many past friends, and I'm hoping some of them are watching this, don't even bring it up, that we could have conversations for hours and hours and the topic never comes up, but it's behind the scene. Then they're like, should I ask? Because it's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, and they are, and that's why I don't push it usually.
Yeah.
I don't hide anything I do. I'm quite open about it, but I'm not incapable of talking about other things or having other experiences. Like it's not to the point that it's my whole life that it's all I can talk about. We
had lives before we started doing what we do.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I tell people quite openly. This is what I do. It's not who I am. Exactly. Right. So it's a hard separation, but it changes us, obviously. You're not the same person you were before the light switch went on. I'm definitely not the same person I was before I took that silly first level 1 that I was going to use to turn the light switch off. Right?
No, I was a damaged little girl when I had my awakening. I had a long ways to go. And it wasn't an easy thing that I had to do by any means, but it was important because it allowed me to be relatable and to understand other people. And it really helped me have compassion for what everyone else is dealing with. I just had to deal with a lot of it in a very short period of time and then move on to the next thing.
I think the key word you just said there was relatable. I intentionally stayed away and kind of hid my gift. I don't like using it that word, because Hollywood has given us this impression of psychics, mediums that is goofy. Right? And when Ellison first took one of your infinity healings, which we'll go into, it was years ago that she did it. And I remember, and I'll bring it up again, I remember thinking, what a waste of freaking money, but whatever, it's your money. It's your money, go ahead. Like you're gonna go to this thing and they're gonna heal you.
Right, and throw your money away.
Like, what are they gonna do? We'll run around, dribble chicken blood on you, and do some kind of weird dance. Come on.
Do some woo-woo stuff.
But that's the impression most people have. When you start talking about psychic mediums, especially when you get into psychic healing, people get this. It's a gimmick.
Yeah, right? That's fair.
I've heard it many times in our own community. I've heard it myself, and I'm like, obviously you're not ready to experience what I've experienced. So I'm going to kind of get into your ability as a psychic healer, because I think that's your thing. You have so many things, it's insane.
So many, I know.
But
No.
I remember the first time I came to your house to get healing done. And I always do that. I don't know why I do that. I should stop doing healing. What is that?
Well, let's face it, you were very skeptical, and I don't mind that.
Skeptical was just like, I went because at this point I had taken level 1. So for everybody to be aware, I knew there was something over there, and I knew I could communicate with my guides. And my guides said, you need to go talk to Kim. And I was like, I don't want to talk to Kim. And sure enough, I show up at your door.
I'm more like, I don't want
to. And I show up at Kim's door. And what was your first impression when I showed up at your door?
I don't remember. I honestly don't.
I remember the conversation you had with me afterwards, and you went, I couldn't believe you were standing at my door.
Oh, yeah, I definitely knew you were resistant. So I would have been a little surprised to see you so quickly.
And so we went in, and at the first time you were working more for my neck to help me out with my car accident.
That's right. That's right.
And I could go on for an hour on the different feelings I got by the time I left. If someone asked you, what is psychic healing? How do you explain that in words? Because I can't.
To be fair, scientifically, it's beyond human comprehension, and it's beyond your current scientific understanding of things.
Thank you.
So could I realistically explain it? No, not completely. I could, but it really wouldn't answer the question, to be fair. Can I do things that are beyond human understanding? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Some of it, there's nothing I hate more than somebody saying, oh, you just have to trust. Oh, you just have to have faith. No, you don't. But to do what I do, I have to believe in myself. I have to believe and trust myself. I have to have confidence in my own skills and not be swayed or deterred by others' opinions or ideas of how I should or shouldn't do things. And that is more important in what I do than anything else.
That makes total sense, because people understand Reiki. It's been around for how long? Am I saying that word right? Reiki?
Reiki's been around in North America, or at least known to modern world, for about 3,000 years. But honestly, it was around long before that. It just wasn't called that. It just started being called Reiki about 3,000 years ago.
What was it called? What was it called before that?
Witchcraft.
I knew it.
The devil's work. I could go on all day.
So they actually had to make it mainstream and come up with a word for it.
Very much so. The labels have had to change, not gonna lie. A lot of the labels have had to change every generation.
Which makes total sense, right?
Well, because of all the connotations associated with it, especially because of religion.
Oh, yeah. No comment.
Exactly. No comment.
It's one subject that I try to stay away from, just because people are so have their views. Say that again. Triggered. That's a good word. Yes. And I run into it quite often. And you have to walk on eggshells to make sure you're trying not to offend or trigger somebody. But yeah, let's tiptoe past that one. Now you threw me way off. Thanks, Kim. Now you know why Kim and Natasha have such a good time on Friday Uncut.
Right? You were asking me about Reiki and the origins of Reiki.
Yes. So again, your light switch went on. You started to take all these courses. Obviously, you took Reiki. Now, is there two different types? I keep hearing or seeing, there's like the ultra, no.
The various forms don't matter, honestly. They're
Oh,
just variations. All you're really doing is tapping into individual energies in order to apply them to different uses. It could be healing, it could be for shifting things, it could be for moving or changing energy. They're all essentially coming from the same source. They're
okay.
just being used in different manners to different situations.
So when we see, what was it? It's Yusui? Is it?
Yasui Reiki, yeah.
And then there's ultra flame? No, there's
Violet flame.
violet flame. Thank you.
Violet flame.
So those are just two different types.
One is more masculine energy and the other one's more feminine energy, but they essentially do very similar things. Combined, when your body has been attuned to those energies, it allows the channels within your physical body, the non-physical channels within your physical body, to run significantly more energy through you. So what essentially the attunements are for is to increase your capacity to move energy.
And that is Reiki in a nutshell, is
That's basically Reiki in a nutshell.
moving energy.
Pretty much.
We all have a field around us.
Yes.
Plus we have our chakras.
Correct.
Reiki's hands off.
Yes.
Moving of that energy.
Correct.
When did you start teaching that?
Within my first year.
Well, it was within your first year.
Yeah.
And would you know off the top of your head how many students you have taught? Yeah, look at her. She's like, "Oh, you're going to ask me that?"
Hundreds. On average, maybe, yeah. So 6 years, probably. Oh gosh, probably reaching upwards of 1,000 by now.
Wow. Okay. So,
give or take.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
A
yeah.
lot. That's amazing. Amazing. When you're using because again, when people think of Reiki, you're laying on a table and has their hands above you. I go to my first session with you, and that's not what you did.
I teach Reiki. I don't do Reiki.
and then people, that's a big difference, isn't it?
Yes.
From what you do compared to Reiki, you can't even.
There's no comparison.
Yeah.
Reiki is amazing as a stepping stone. It's a beginner tool. It's fabulous for self-healing and starting the journey in a very gentle way, so as not to shock or to terrify people. It's really like the gateway into this stuff, but it is beginner stuff for me.
Yeah. Can we get into your infinity healing sessions? Because this kind of led us right into it. You have this thing that you do called infinity healing. Now, did it start online, or was it in person originally?
It was in person. My very first infinity healing had like 32 people.
Oh, wow. In person.
In person.
Has it changed over time, or is it basically? Okay. Because what I see now, it would be interesting to go back. Did you videotape that first one?
I don't record them at all. More for privacy and protection of my clients.
Of course. I guess you would have to, wouldn't you? Yeah. That would make total sense.
The first one, though, oh my gosh, you'd laugh, Kevin. When I first started, I wasn't able to do the psychic work strongly enough just from my mind without sound or with the really putting the power behind it. So I did what I was calling command work, because I really had to put every ounce of energy I had behind it, and I would use my voice and my body and everything I had to make those changes for those people in that room, in that space. And it was hard sometimes. Like I would hit my limits and I would get a blinding pain in my head because it would hurt so bad, because I'd be like, oh, there's the limit. There, that was.
Okay, let's not go there again.
Yeah, aneurysm. I'd be like, oh, no, I'm good. We'll just push past that ceiling. So yeah, but basically I was yelling at people for an hour, right?
Oh
And
no.
yes, I had to like almost yell it. Like I had very authoritative, strong voice. And the joke from my friends that would attend, they're like, yeah, the whole neighborhood just brushed their teeth and got their pajamas ready for bed because you hear your mom voice.
I could actually see you doing that. Yes. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, so I was adamant that as soon as possible, as soon as I was able, I needed to be able to do it psychically in my mind without having to say anything out loud, without having to use language or words or anything, so that it was gentle or not scary for my clients. Because it was
Oh,
scary,
I'm sure
especially
you
for
probably
kids.
scared people away.
Oh yeah, it scared the crap out of people. A
Oh
lot of them,
yeah.
some of them wouldn't come back because they're like, "Why did she yell at us?" Right?
I just spent how much money and all she did? You yell at me for an hour?
Right? So it was hard because that was all I had at the time, but it was effective. It still worked very well,
Well, of
but
course,
it was
yes.
triggering for those who've been
Well,
traumatized
yeah.
or, vulnerable. And I wasn't happy about that, but it's what I had. And then I think it was within the first year where it was only one or two things or three things at a time. It was it was like a transition, right, where I slowly was able to do some of it psychically, the easier stuff, or what was easier for me at the time.
Yes.
And then it would slowly but surely, I would build a capacity. I would do all kinds of stuff to my body that was very, very painful to adapt it to be able to handle the capacity or level of energy that would need to push through to affect the changes. And once that finally happened, I was able to do it all completely psychically and none of it out loud, which was such a blessing. You have no idea.
Oh, it's probably easier on you and your body.
Oh, so much.
Well,
So
yeah.
although, I still would hit my limits sometimes and get the blinding head pain to let me know that that was one of my limits and I had to work to get past that limit. But these days it's pretty hard to hit limits, thankfully. But it took years to get there.
I watched you real closely. I'm a people watcher by years past. And I watched you really, really closely in the last Infinity Healing because it was a very emotional, it was all about abuse. And I was like, the physical pain you looked to be in while you were doing it, I felt. It was one of those moments where you go, wow, she is actually going through every emotion that everybody in this room, Zoom room, was feeling. Is that what actually happens for you?
I have to.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. It's just amazing. We've jumped way ahead there because we didn't even really describe what is infinity healing. I've got all kinds of people I can guarantee you going, what are they talking about? They're nuts.
Once I was strong enough that people didn't have to be in my vicinity, it was initially what it started out was group healing. So it was actually a few archangels that came to me. It was way back. Gosh, that was like 5 years ago. 4.5 years ago. A few archangels that I work with came to me and they're like, you can start doing, because I was just doing one-to-one healing at the
Right.
time, which was great. And I was doing as many as I could, but I was really finding it ineffectual because I'm like, one or two a day for how many years? I'm never going to be able to make the impact I need to make. Like this is not working. And so I remember the day that they came to me and they're like, you can do group healing work now. And I'm like, what?
I can do it.
I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, you're ready. And I'm like, well, how many? And they told me how many. I'm like, I don't know about that.
I don't think that's going to work.
I was really freaked out. I was actually terrified to do it. And I thought, well, what's the worst that could happen? Well, it doesn't work and I give everybody a refund. I can live with it.
Yeah.
I could live with that. That was worst case. So, but then it did work. And it's worked every time since. And I have literally done group healings every single month, once a month for the last 4+ years.
Wow.
I've maybe missed one or two, but I've been very consistent. And the people who, gave me a chance, gave me an opportunity to help, let me practice on them. They're essentially guinea pigs, because let's be real, this is not something that's done. Like, this is groundbreaking, and it's new, and I had to learn as I went the whole way through. And so grateful for all the people that gave me a chance, even though they had no idea what I did or what it would do to them or how it worked or nothing. Trust in a big way. And fast forward to where we're at today, I get about 100 people. We do it over Zoom now, because where do you get that many people in one place? And how, I don't want to exclude anyone in the world.
And how can you get, the last one, I believe there was people from all over the world.
They're all over the world. Yeah. And, so Zoom is the best opportunity I have to give everyone a chance, and everyone the choice to join and not be excluded in any way. So anyone and everyone is welcome. Doesn't matter age or ethnicity or culture or time zone. Don't care. You're welcome. And I've always kept the price as low as I've literally never raised the price. It's always been $42 per person.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Never changed it. And it's available to everyone per registration. So it's $42 per registration. So if you have 20 people in your house and they're all joining in, I'm okay with that. It's really not about the money.
No. And you can tell. You could charge $75 per person and still have as many people as you do without a problem.
But that would exclude people who maybe financially couldn't.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the last thing I want to do. It's usually the most vulnerable or the most financially destitute that need it the most.
Isn't it? Yes, I agree.
So no, I'll probably never, ever change my prices on that. It affords me enough to be able to pay my mortgage and live.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me. I don't need more than that.
And that's where when I researched you, which I did before I got involved, both you and Ken, your prices are so damn reasonable compared to a lot of people out there that it's, I was like, okay, these people aren't doing it to become filthy rich. They're doing it because A, you love it, and B, you want to help people.
Yeah, both.
Right. It's refreshing. It's definitely refreshing. And for anybody that's listening that is kind of questioning the whole infinity healing, try it once. Take it from Mr. Skeptic. Try it once. I can't explain it. I'll never try to explain it because it's beyond my comprehension. But I can tell you without a doubt, it works. There's no way I felt what I felt through the 3 I think I've done now, and it not work.
Hard to make it up.
It's just weird. It's just it's unexplainable. Again, one of those. I can't explain it. It's not something I could put into words. If somebody told me a year ago that I would go pay $42 and I'd sit on a Zoom meeting to hear this lady yell at me, she doesn't yell anymore. But do some weird stuff and it affect me and it makes me a better person. So yeah, no, take that leap of faith. It's well worth it. I wish you could pass that on to everybody because there's so many of us that need it.
Everyone needs it. Right? You know what? Rich, poor, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everyone, I promise you, needs it.
Every race, every religion, every atheist, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what your beliefs are. You don't have to worry about that. You can come in and be as skeptical as you want. You don't have to believe anything. You don't have to do anything. There's no expectations of you. You join, that's enough. You say you're okay to let me heal. But if you say even psychically, if you say, no, I don't want this, I won't.
Yeah.
I will honor that. So if you truly are just there to listen in, that's okay too. If you don't want me to do healing on you, I won't. Even if you're there, unless you're actually allowing me to do it, I won't push past anyone's boundaries. but please try it just once, because this is a game changer for so many people. And I ain't going to be here forever, and I'm offering this now. And, you know, I realized the people that came to me at first only did so out of trust, out of knowing me for other lifetimes, or if they've known me before, or they just know that I'm
Yeah.
going to help them, and they are there. But a lot of people don't know me, have never met me. Even with all the incarnations I've had, they still have never met me or known me necessarily, and they're going to be a lot more skeptical. I respect that, and that's okay. But if you want to come, you're still welcome.
That's awesome. Well put. Very well put. Wow. Sorry. It just, that one gets to me every time. There's something about it. I can't explain it. And it just, something that I've grown, that it's like, okay, we're going to do this every month. And, oh, that was a question I had. Now, I believe you have said you don't even have to sign on. It will work. Like, we love signing on because, again, people watching, I love to do it. So, but you don't have to sign on.
You don't have to. You can register, and you don't necessarily have to be there. If you've registered, then I will include you. Like, that's kind of a. Now, the tricky thing is the only way for me to include your family members is if they're present. Otherwise, it's only the individual that's registering, because I kind of need to know who I'm including. True even enough. If I just kind of scan through the list once, it's not like I'm memorizing their names. It's more of a knowing kind of thing of as who should be included. So it is more effective in that if you sign up and you want to include others, you all really need to sign in and be there. A workaround to that, what I figured out is people who sign up for my membership, Employed by Angels membership, which actually ends up saving you a fortune. You actually spend way less, and you're included in 12 months worth of infinity healings. Those people, because I've got them registered, I know who they are, it's the same people every month, then it doesn't matter whether they log in or don't log in, include them. So that those people are guaranteed to be included. So if you're worried that you won't be able to attend all the time, I really would suggest doing the membership to be sure.
Cool. Do you know off the top of your head, can you remember how much the membership is?
It's $3.99. If you're in Canada, there's obviously taxes. If you're outside Canada, there's not. Yeah.
Oh, I need to get an outside Canada address. Dang it.
Darn GST. Right? Government.
Darn government. Let's not go to politics. So we're bouncing all over the place, but this is cool. So you've started your Employed by Angels, and you've done incredible work. You've written a book or two or three. What happens after that? I think we had a quick discussion before we came on. You had your own TV show for a while?
I did, yeah. Yeah, honestly, it was taking up too much of my time. It was taking me away from healing people, and I didn't like that, so really? I stopped.
Okay. Yeah. And what was a TV show? Was it like a? It was
a little small town TV station, CATV out of Olds.
Okay.
Just a little small town close to here.
Yeah.
And it was me and another guy, and it was called oh gosh, what was the name of the show now? Road to a Better Me. That was what it was called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I used to bring in, like, the co-host and I would just interview people, and of course I would just bring in everyone I knew, so it was all my friends, it was all like, anybody who was spiritual, like that had a business or that was actually really good, or health people or whatever, like people that I just kind of picked that I knew were really good in their field.
Yes.
And we would just bring them in and just laugh and joke for like half hour. I can't remember
awesome.
how long it was. It was a really fun show to do, but it was great because it gave me TV experience, which was nice because I've done a lot of, like I've done interviews on TV, like out of Buffalo, New York. I went down there and did a couple, and a lot of like radio interviews and stuff, like on Hay House. People have heard of Hay House Radio. I was on there, and I do like about those kinds of things, right? So doing the TV show really gave me the experience I needed for publicity,
Yes.
because I was a nobody.
Well,
I didn't do any of this stuff. I was 36 years old coming into this, and I'd never done anything on TV, live videos, interview, nothing, just nothing.
and that's where I'm just baffled by it, because I mean, here you are, 2014. You've never done anything like this before, and now you're, I mean, you're very well known in this community. And when I say this community, I don't mean Airdrie, I mean the spiritual community. And it's only been 7 short years.
Yeah.
That's
And I've only just begun.
just, and well, that's what I mean. I mean, 7 years in a career like this is like that much. Really, when you look at what is the future? Is there things that you're planning? Look at that smile.
I'm always planning something.
That's hilarious.
Just watch.
Stay tuned. Always keep them wanting more.
There's more to come. I've just begun.
That's awesome. Awesome. I'm just going to, as you see me glancing over, I'm looking. Someone asked a question. It was Susan Southgate Sweeney. How would Akashic Records session help someone with wartime PTSD? Or would it help?
It could potentially. There's a lot to that though. Like there's a lot of psychological stuff there. I wouldn't say Akashic would just fix everything. It could certainly be a facet of it and definitely help and support with healing. But I'd say that would not be enough. That would not be the only thing that they should be doing. They would need a lot more counseling and things, because PTSD is very, very serious.
Yes.
Right. But could Akashic Records help or support other healing? Yeah, definitely. I would probably go through and rewrite some of those experiences, delete the emotions around it, try to help the person reach a state where they can talk about it without all the emotion. But there's so much more to it. Even how the body's been wired for trauma has to be addressed. There's so many things. The brain, once it's been wired for that fight or flight state, you also have to take into consideration the chemicals in the body, if they're producing a lot of cortisol, things like that. Like there's a lot of factors.
There's so much to it.
There is so much to it. I would never oversimplify something like that.
No. Anybody that's been through war and expects to come home and be, I'm going to use the word normal again.
Yeah, been there.
It's
not this time, but I remember.
It's funny because you brought up something that I wanted to mention, and it was this first session. Yeah, it was the first session that we had together. It was you, me, and Natasha. And I was telling you about a dream that kept a reoccurring dream.
A dream, not a dream?
Yeah, where I was constantly being shot or shooting other people. And you and Natasha right away were clued in and literally were able to go into my Akashic Records. I don't forget what happened, and you said it there, and I think that's an important part of it is I still remember the dream. I don't have them anymore because I don't have the emotion that goes with them anymore.
Yeah, and the trigger.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was and it was like, I had one that night. I haven't had one from that day on. Again, another one of those. I don't understand why, but I do understand that it works. It's effective. But you said something during when you were talking about the PTSD that's really something that I have always respected you for the last year. I feel like, but obviously, I feel like I've known you way freaking longer.
You have.
Yes, and we'll go into that another time because it's quite funny. But you never say I can fix everything. I'm the healer. I'm the psychic healer, and no. we have medical doctors and the medical profession, and you are always making sure people understand that.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Well, it's true. Spiritual healing, it only goes so far. You have a physical body, and yeah, there's a lot I can do to help you, but I'm going to do it in conjunction with the work of your doctors and their medical. I don't discount what they do. What they do and the tools that they have and the means that they have to check things are very effective, tested, proven, and they do work. And I'm not somebody who will say that one type of healing is going to be better than another, because it depends on the individual, and no one thing is ever going to be the be all end all for healing.
Wow. Yeah, that is so cool. Wow, the whole hour is gone already. Remember I said right at the very beginning when we were chatting before we went live, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough to talk about. And
I didn't even have time to rat you out and tell them how you raised up an army against me.
No,
right? That's okay.
We'll do that. We'll keep them coming back. And I promise, next time I have you on for, it won't be a Sunday sessions, because this will be my last Sunday sessions. We're now going to switch it up and either go Wednesday or Thursday, one day during the week. I was just going to switch it up for summer, but I decided weekends are way too busy. So I'm going to switch it up, do it during the week one day, and I might even mix up the days and I'm just going to do it every week. And if I pick a day during the week, I'll be able to do it every week. Ms. Kim, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you this much more. And we will talk about me raising up an army against you.
Oh, good, because I want to rat you out so bad.
That is the funniest story ever. And I served it up to you on a silver platter early in this conversation when I said I showed up at your door, because that's when you told me about it.
Oh, I knew. Yeah, I knew.
It was like, is she going to?
We have a lot of history together.
Is she going to take the bait? And she didn't take it.
That was nice this time.
I'm not even going to touch that. Anyways, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. To everybody that was listening, I hope you enjoyed it half as much as I did, because I enjoyed this so much. And I will see everybody probably not this Wednesday, but the following. No, I'm probably going to go live this Wednesday. Let's make a commitment. I'm going to go live. No, not this Wednesday. This Thursday. I'm going to mess myself up. It's going to be Thursday because I have something else on the Wednesday, so for my own training and healing and whatnot. So Thursday it'll be 7:30 my time. You guys figure out what that time is your time, because I give up trying to make everybody. Do you ever do that? Do you ever go? Okay, it's 7:30 my time. It's 5:30 your time. Now I'm just like, no, 7:30 my time. Figure it out.
I tell them to Google it. Google and convert to your time.
Exactly. Anyways, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And to everybody else, have a great Sunday.